At first, we talk about word classes, and then we are talking about how English words are formed. And most of the linguists, they believe that word formation process generally comprises one wide inflectional morpheme. Next one is derivational morpheme, and third one is compounding. And there are other category also, that is minor formation process. Okay, remember this terminology. As I said, we are discussing about morphology. Morphology means how words are formed. It's the scientific study of words. Simply you can define morphology in this way. So in morphology, at first we discuss about word classes as prescribed in the textbook. Different word classes. In our previous class, we discussed about inflectional and derivational morpheme. Please, can you off your mic? Background noise. There are 4 types of, especially, word formation processes. One is inflectional. Using inflectional morpheme, we can form new words, or we can change the form of word. Next one is derivational process, or derivational morphology. Through this we can form word or words. And third one is compounding. We are going to talk about compounding today. Compounding and other minor word formation processes as given in our textbook. Right? We'll talk about that also if we will have time today. So again, let's talk about inflectional. And last time also, I have shown you a very short video. If possible, let's try. It will recall our previous knowledge. Let me use this. Okay. It will repeat the same thing or similar thing, let's say. Okay. Let me stop this. Can you hear the sound?
No, sir.
No sound. Okay, let me again say this.
You can divide the sentence into clauses if it has. Even though the thought is incomplete, it is understandable. You can divide a clause into phrases. It keeps making some sense. You can extract a word from a phrase, which carries a meaning, and divide it into morphemes that also have meaning or functional roles. You cannot divide further on without losing the meaning. Before continuing, let me refresh a bit. There are 2 types of morphemes, free and bound. Free morphemes can stand alone and make sense. For example, the word crazy. Bound morphemes need to be attached to a free morpheme to function. For example, ness, and we have craziness. Bound morphemes are divided into inflectional and derivational. Inflectional morphemes don't change meaning, nor word class of the word, and they are 8. The rest of the morphemes are derivational. They change meaning or part of speech or both. Bound morphemes are also affixes, and affixes are bound morphemes. Have you noticed that some bound morphemes seen here go at the beginning of the word and some others go at the end? Affixes catalog and let us know the position of the morphemes. In English, there are 2 types of affixes. The ones that go at the beginning, that are called prefixes, because they go at the beginning, and the ones that go at the end, that are called suffixes. So in the last video, we got until derivational morphemes, the ones that can change either the meaning or the word class or both. However, that is not their official categorization. Derivational morphemes are divided in 2, class changing and class maintaining. Class changing, as the name says, are derivational morphemes that change the function or class of the word from a noun to a verb, noun to adjective, adjective to adverb, verb to noun, and so on. Don't worry, it is not that hard. Let me explain it better for you. With only adding a class-changing affix to a word, you can nominalize it, which means turning it into a noun, verbalize it, which means turning it into a verb, adjectivize it, which means turning it into an adjective, and verbalize it, which means ding ding ding, turning it into an adverb. We can get nouns out of verbs and adjectives. We can get verbs out of nouns and adjectives. We can get adjectives out of nouns and verbs. And we can get adverbs out of nouns and adjectives. Class maintaining. They are those that don't change the function or class of the word. The word stays the same. However, it can change the meaning of the word, and it does. Spiritual is something related to religion or concerning to the soul. Spiritualist is now a person who is interested in the spiritual world or belongs to the movement of spiritualism. Both are adjectives, but mean different things. Brother is a person who is related to you as part of your family, and brotherhood is a relationship between brothers or an association or community of people linked by religion or social status. They are both nouns, but they mean different things. The same happens with the case of bearable, which is an adjective, and unbearable, which keeps being an adjective, but they mean opposite things. And the same exact thing happens with appear and disappear. If you can notice, inflectional morphemes are all suffixes. Most of class-changing derivational morphemes are also suffixes. There are only few exceptions. This means that most prefixes, the ones that go at the beginning, are class-maintaining. You may say, well, if class-maintaining don't change the part of speech or word class, why aren't they cataloged as inflectional? Remember that class-maintaining also change the meaning, and inflectional don't change the meaning, neither the word class. They might have a rule function to express either plural or possessions or comparisons, but the changes made by inflectional morphemes are slight. They are important, of course, because otherwise they wouldn't exist, but the changes are slighter than the changes made by any derivational morpheme. If you notice, when we use morphemes, there can occur some spelling changes. There are some cases that don't seem to have rules for the spelling when adding a morpheme, but here we can point some examples and patterns. For example, doubling the final consonant in some cases. In many instances, dropping the E, changing Y for I, or just removing the Y. Cool is sometimes changed by cool. For adding the suffix full to words that end in double L, we drop one L. Changing the T for the double S. There were some changes given in some cases.
Enter to Bluetooth.
This activity is called How Many Morphemes? For each word showed here, we will give you 8 seconds for you to count how many morphemes the word has. You just have to say the number in the amount of seconds required. An example could be the word unbearable. Here we have.
Okay. Now, can you tell how many morphemes are there? 3.
3.
Okay.
Three morphemes.
Three.
Okay, you can see 3 words, right? An, and a beer.
Bear, able. Now is your turn. Pausing the video is cheating, so challenge yourself and see how many ones you get right. Are you ready to go? And go.
Okay, how many are there?
3. 3.
3 or 4?
5.
Time's up. So this word, unfortunately,
4.
has 4
Okay, see.
morphemes. On, fortune, et, and lee. So are you ready for the next word? And go.
How many are there?
4.
4.
4.
Okay, let's go. Let's see.
So 3.
Time's up. This word verbalization has 4 morphemes. Verb, all, eyes. Yeah, remember that when we add and add morphemes, the spelling changes. And Asian. So are you ready for the next word?
How many? Here?
So 3. 2.
Three, sir.
3.
3.
Time's up.
3.
This word differential has 3 morphemes. Differ,
3.
and yo. Ready for the second word? And go.
How many?
1. 2.
2.
2.
Three.
And time's up. So this word battery was difficult for you because it has only 1 morpheme. It is battery. That's the morpheme. Ready for the following word and go.
Complementary. How many?
2.
Time's up. For this word complementary, we have 3 morphemes. Okay, so complete, remember the spelling changes, meant, and airy. Very good. Hope you enjoyed this activity. And as we want to provide you with a complete content, check the information box of this video below, and it contains a list.
Okay. Whose turn is it to present today? Who's going to present?
Sir, it's me.
Okay, now please start now. It's your turn.
Sir, I have a problem. My turn too.
Is there any problem?
And
Yes, sir.
I'm waiting for this Wi-Fi connection, and I'm using now this mobile phone.
Yes.
Data.
That means you can't.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'll do.
The word battery Is that one morpheme or two morphemes?
Only one, she said. You can check Oxford Dictionary.
Sir,
Okay,
but then
not what she said. Because the word batter and battery is like seems like two morphemes.
yeah,
B
I was going to say the same.
batter and then Y.
Yeah.
No, you can,
That is what I was thinking too.
it has two syllable, right? You can divide bat and is a single noun. Do you think it is derived from
because
inflection?
batter does not go.
A batter is a different thing.
Is it also because batter is not the root word for battery?
Yeah,
Is that the reason
Battery
why?
has like more than one
for
meaning.
that. You can see I have shared the Oxford Learner Dictionary here, right? It means this.
Yes, sir.
Battery, right?
This battery, yeah.
Yes.
So that battery would just be one, but
Yeah.
the other batter and Y would be two, I guess.
Yeah. There are two.
There's another meaning as well for battery,
Yeah. Is there
like a
any other
crime
word?
battery. Yes, sir.
Which word you mean?
It's like a form of like a battery, like a it's a noun.
Assault, you know.
Where
It's
yeah,
an
assault. That's right. And
yeah.
batter would be the verb of battery.
Mm.
Battering, yeah.
It doesn't have any root form. I can't see in the Oxford Dictionary. Look at here. There is.
You can see the like its meaning, maybe another meaning there.
BATTER batter. You'll
Yeah.
have to say
You mean
BATTER.
the food batter? Food batter.
Yes, that
You
batter.
meant that right? Yeah.
No. Verb, batter, and battery.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the battery that Sir has given today is like the battery, noun battery, the battery
Noun
that
battery.
we use.
Yes.
Yes, that is why we don't have two morphemes, because batter is battery's root word. That is why,
But
I
then
guess.
the instructions should say it, you know, whether they want that noun or verb, what it is, you know, because then it depends. The answer might depend.
Yes, the answer will vary according to the word.
Word, yes, you're right.
So will you be sharing this presentation with us on Moodle?
Yeah, that's there. Moodle as well.
Okay.
So now we can present, sir. Yes, battery is free morpheme.
Sir, it's me, Prakash. I think today I have on.
I couldn't catch, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it your turn today?
I think today I have the turn of project destination.
And who is the next?
Sir, after Prakash ji, I will present for approaches to word.
Sir, for your kind information, I don't have Wi-Fi now, and I am waiting for
First of all, sir, can you
service.
start
Just imagine
your
that.
presentation?
I'll do.
Okay, sir. I won't take much time.
Okay.
I just finish reading 4 to 5 minutes.
Okay, sir. Okay. Now start. It's your time.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
We were 19 and now 16. Are you sharing, sir, your slide? I think he's not here.
He doesn't seem to be here.
Okay, he's not here. I think he has problem, internet connection problem. Okay, he will present later. Let me start. Today's this is simply repetition. I have some more example, and we can discuss on this. Usruful sir is back again. He's joining. Let's wait. Usruful sir, are you there?
Sorry, sir.
Okay, now
There was maybe something.
Now we can start your presentation.
Okay,
Are you
sir.
ready?
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
There are some technical issues with my laptop, maybe that's why I can't share my screen, and suddenly I just disconnected from the Zoom.
Okay, sir. Now we can start. You can share your screen and start.
Okay, sir. So thank you, sir, and thank you, fellow mates, and welcome to a very short presentation on approaches to word class. And you know that we are very much familiar about word class that are very much common to us, known as parts of speech, right? And I'm just going to talk about the approaches to word class. Before that, I want to just mention that definition, that how do we define the term word class? You know, word class is not a physical entity. It's just a sort of mental constructs that exists in our mind. And there are two types of approaches to word class. One is known as notional definitions, and another one is morphosyntactic properties. Notional definitions, basically, that is the traditional definition of word classes, and morphosyntactic properties is, let me tell you about notional definitions, are such as that we generally define nouns as name of places, things, or persons. In the same way, define verbs as action words, and in case of adjectives, we define it as qualifying words, and so on. But if we follow the traditional definitions, in that cases, there may arise some problems. Like as in the you see on the screen that I've noted freedom, rudeness. These are some more two words, or like this, there are many words that may create problems. That may seem that these cannot be under the title of nouns. Or if we consider seem, please, feel, or that sorts of words that are actually not actions, but we treat these words as verb. And in case of morphosynthetic properties, it is said that this is the most suitable type of word class to define word. And it basically, we define in this type of category, we just focus on the function of the words in the context, according to the context of the sentence. We see in a sentence, noun may take number, genitive, inflection. There will be, in case of verbs, there will be the inflection of tense that maybe like as go, went, gone, or like as goes. And in case of adjectives, we may also take inflections. like as beauty, beautiful, ful, full. This is the inflection of adjective, and there will be some sort of setting in case of morphosyntactic properties, like as you see here, a beautiful cat. This is a is a determiner here, and beautiful is an adjective, and then there will come the noun word, that is cat. And likewise, in case of verb, there may be the framework, like auxiliary verb will come first, and then the main verb will come. And you see more example here. There may be some words are available in which can be used in according to the context. It may varies. Its function may varies, like as the word round. Round in the sentence. This is your round. Here, round is just a noun. But in case of sometimes we may use it as an adjective. Sometimes we may use it as a verb. Sometimes we may use it as a preposition. And you see, if we say the cook is useless person, here the cook is a noun, but in the next sentence, I will cook tomorrow. Here you see the same word, but here cook is a verb. So it says that function is more important than the traditional definition. There is a notional definition of word categories. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does anybody have question on the issue Surupul sir presented? If you have, we can ask right now. Okay, you have 5 minutes time. Defining word on on the basis of two approaches. There is notional, traditional approach is that, and next one is morphosyntactic, is inclusive and modern way of defining words. Is there any question for him? No question? Okay. This means you have got the idea based on these two approaches. Okay, thank you, sir. Now I'm start. As I said earlier, we are right now talking about morphology. At first, we talk about word classes, about word. That means types of word, I mean, classes of word, I mean. And then these are ways of forming words or different form of words. They are number one, inflectional morphology, derivational morphology, and today I'm going to talk about one or two more. They are compound word and compounding, you can say, and the last one is other minor word formation types. So once again, let's see. Inflectional.
Sorry, sir. May I disturb you, sir?
Azur, yes. Are you saying something?
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm Bhuvana. Am I supposed to present next week?
I'll tell you whether your name is there or not. Okay, let me see.
Sir, I just got quite confused there. The topic, I think you have changed the course plan, have you?
No, I haven't changed. Let me see here.
I think it's mine next week.
Yours, is it? I don't think.
After Ashrafulji, I think it was mine.
After Ashraful, my name is.
Prakash is there, right, today?
Okay.
After this, Bhuvana Joshi.
Oh, yes, Bhuvana.
This is number 5.
Sorry.
The single, your name is there, single name. And you are present inflection and derivational, right?
So it is inflectional and derivational. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Could
Only
you
one
please
person.
write it down? I want to see my name as
After
well.
that, Chetuna Shrestha. Next, after Bhuvana Joshi, right? Next week, Bhuvana, then Chetana, right? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Let's see. We talk about inflection morphology last time also, and I'm repeating this one. If you have some confusion, we can discuss today. By name also you can see, right? Deals with inflected form of verb, words, not only verb. Inflection, inflected form, and this is the kind of variation that word exhibit on the basis of their grammatical context. There are two words. I just talk about this last time also, right? Let's not forget. There is inflected form, one, and that inflection should be determined by grammatical need context. That means you can see the sentence. The pianist performs. See, this is third person singular subject. It is present simple, and you can see s, addition of s in this verb. So inflection, you can see inflection. What is inflection? This one is inflection, and this is not useless inflection. This is conditioned by grammar, right? Should be conditioned by grammar. So in past simple, you can see there's a reported speech. Mary told us that this pianist and this is B2, right? So this is also conditioned by and inflected by these two variable, you can say. Form inflection, form is the same verb, meaning is similar, but conditioned by grammar. It is rewritten. You can see the rephrase again. An inflection is grammatical condition that is depend on the grammatical context. And by grammatical condition, we mean the unit of sentence determine the form. Singular subject, this pianist requires the form performs. We know that. So this is what we call inflectional morphology or inflectional way of forming word in English. There are different, mostly 5 most productive inflectional exponent. You can see, let me change this one here. See here, word class noun and plural forming. We discuss about this in morpheme also. S, the, mugs, spas, books, buses. This is called form, and these are, let me use this pen. Okay. You can see word class here, noun, verb, an adjective, and form, plural, you can see. And this is called, or these all are called exponent, simply. S pronounced as jaw. This is jaw sound of English. And ed, for example, you can see this cute, talked, skid, daw. There should be daw. This is daw sound. D means daw sound, right? Here you can see this saw, cells, cells, walks, sees. Past form is past form and past participle. It's a very simple, we know that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mostly these are highly used in English. And there are other also we're going to talk about, but this book says these are.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Sorry, sir. In
Yes,
this
yes.
verb, in the form, is this the third person singular?
Which one?
It means verb form. Yes, this one. So can we write here V5?
This one?
No, here in the exponent column.
Here, you mean?
Yes, can we write V5?
You can write V5 also, but V5,
Since you have here third person singular.
yeah, that exponent means especially in V5 you can write S or ES. These are exponents of V5, right?
Okay. Yes.
S or ES. We exponents means here some that alphabet, right, and sound for that. Simply, it's not difficult thing, different thing. We refer by exponent only some alphabet that represent change, inflection, right, and what pronunciation. You can see pronunciation. These two altogether we call exponent. But B5 is another term for grammar, right? But here exponent means alphabet, some alphabets plus is pronunciation, right? You can see comparative and superlative. These are some example and most productive, the writer says. So pronouns also you can see. We know that there are first person, second person, and third person. These are person. And you can see singular also, plural also, number, and their position, subjective, objective, determinative, independent, and reflective. So these are chains only. Simply chains, meaning is almost same in all of the cases, but according to their position, right, they are slightly changed. Inflection means a slight change only. So I, me, my, mine, myself. And similarly, you can see the other also, right? So this is in case of pronouns, and verbs also you can see as you were saying something. Inflection only in case of inflection. Walk, you can see past form walked, and participle worked. We all know that. Inflection. You can see sing, sang, song, eat. So, and no variation. I think last time Rajendra sir, he was talking about something else. See, no variation here, right? And in this case, past form and participle, past participle, both are same. So these are inflection in verb form. Example only. Now let's start derivational morphology. I think you have concept about derivational morphology. In the video I played at the beginning of the class, also talk about derivational morphology. Can you recall what is derivational morphology is? Can anybody tell me? What are the two conditions of
No,
yes?
no meaning chains, no word class chains.
Derivational.
There word class change and meaning change, right? I think it changes
Class,
both.
yes, yes. I think it is
No
down.
meaning chains.
Anybody else?
Meaning and word class changes, right?
Is it so?
Yes.
Rajendra sir,
Meaning doesn't change, sir. Meaning doesn't change, sir.
what doesn't change?
Class changes and meaning changes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Both,
Class change, meaning
both changing?
change.
Yes, both changes.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to correct them or are they right?
And it
I
is
think
not
B.
conditioned by grammar, sir.
Sorry?
Sorry, it is not
Not
conditioned
conditioned
by
by grammar.
grammar, sir.
Rajendra sir?
Yes, sir. I think the meaning changes, but not necessarily the word class. It could change or it may not. Is that true?
Tirsa sir, can you hear me?
Class changing and class maintaining, both are two are there.
Okay. There's still debate. That video has clearly mentioned about this. Yes, what is that? Deals with morpheme that are not conditioned by grammatical context. You know that. It's not the output of grammatical condition. For example, you can see example here. Please carefully. What is the situation here? Okay, let me take it out. This word, the red font, the performance was particularly impressive. And this word, look at here. How many morphemes are there? Okay, let's forget about morpheme, right? We don't need it right now. It need, or we are not making perform into performance or performance because of grammatical condition. Are you clear? This one, for example, you can see another, the perform, here is perform only. Last week was particularly impressive. This is the position of what? Noun. Subject, that means. And inflection, for example, there can be perform also. You can write performs also, performed also, right? It is not conditional with grammar. Grammar doesn't need this. It doesn't mean it is out of grammar. You can write whatever you like, doesn't mean.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. Yes, please. Do you want to say anything?
Sure.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm listening.
No,
Tell me, tell.
the perform last week was particularly impressive. Their performance or they perform the perform last week pani huncha, sir. I mean I'm just
No, you can see asterisk. It's not
confused
grammatically correct. It's not correct.
with the
One
sentence
is correct.
itself.
This one, okay. Is a position of noun, right? So we are using, for example, let me take this box.
Okay.
He.
So that is why. Okay. Therefore,
So would it mean that when you combine, when you like, if you're trying to give an example, like if you try to combine the word which actually changes the meaning of the word, the part of the speech itself, like from noun to verb to noun or noun to verb, is that what you're trying to say, sir? In this derivational morphology?
No. You maybe I can't catch you well. Look at here. Here the context, the occurrence of word performance is done by grammar. It's not the need of grammar. Need of meaning is exactly right. Whatever we say, it's a place of noun. Get my point? For example, look at the performer. You can see this is agent here. Agent, subject, concert, noun. right? This is a position of noun. So in derivational morphology, I mean, we do not change the form of word as per the need of grammar. It's not such type of change, it means. Did you get the point? Whatever I said?
No, sir. Can you repeat, sir?
Derivation, if you have watched the video well, that also said that derivational morphology, what happens? We write particular words, or we change the form of particular word, not because of grammatical need. Not because of grammatical need. Right? Derivation morphology. There are two types of derivation morphology. From the type also you can get the idea. For example, it can be of same class, it changes meaning only. And next one is, from the name itself it says we derive new word. But whatever we do, whatever form we write, it's not because of need of grammar. Okay, let me again and again repeat the same thing, right? In this sentence, look at here, the performance last week was, what do we need? Structure is subject and verb and object, right? The word performance, it is subject, it is subject, right? And this word performance has many form, maybe noun form, maybe verb form, for example. And what do we write at the position of subject? Noun or verb? What do we write? Subject means noun, right? So we have written performance here, not performs or performed or performing, right? Because it is a place of subject. We are not changing the form because of present tense, past tense, and future tense, etc. So if we change the form of word not because of grammar, then it is called not conditioned by grammar, or is a derivational morphology. For example, you can see here, look at here, perform.
What?
This is
भाई
what,
मेरा क्या हुआ है?
right? But
ये वाला
whatever we have
present
written
on.
here,
बैठ गया
performance, it is noun, you can see, right? Or you can write many inflectional form of perform also. For example, there are choices. Perform also, but you only wrote this performance. And your option is performance, not perform and performs. But if it is conditioned by grammar, whatever you would write simply he performs, they perform, right? And etc. According to the tense also can change. So if those options were used, or those options were suitable, right? It would be inflectional morphology. What you have written? What? Performance. And you don't have other option here. Only one option. According to Sometimes you can, if you write performances and other performed, ed, performs, etc., it would be inflectional. Always in the place of subject, you have to write performance, whether it is past tense, whether it is present tense, and so on. That's why it is called derivational morphology. Are you clear? If the same form doesn't change, then as per the tense, for example, then it is derivational. Okay, we'll discuss if you have confusion later also. Let me talk about other things, right? Put your question in your notebook. I'll discuss about this also. So derivational morphology means we can derive. Derivation is deriving word. We are right now talking about how do we form new words. One is inflectional. Remember this, I'm talking about words, right? For example, it is one word, and if you write s, it will be another word. Another word, but inflectional form, right? And right now talking about derivation morphology. Here, there are two possibilities. Listen me carefully. In derivation morphology, we can derive words on the basis of two criteria. You can see here types. Category preserving derivation morphology. It means even you can form new word staying at the same word class, on the same word class, or sometimes you can change word class also.
Sir, yes, sir. So can you please like state a few examples so that we can
Yeah,
get
example is
the
coming.
idea?
Wait, examples are coming. Lots of example, right?
Okay.
One is category
Ask.
preserving, no category change. No category change means noun into noun, verb into verb. For example, adjective into adjective also. You can derive new word, right? Or you can derive new word changing noun into verb, verb into noun, adjective into noun, etc. So just remember the terminologies. Category preserving means no category change, no word class change. That means simply noun into noun. And category changing means noun it can be verb, verb can be noun, and so on, right? So see, English contain a number of.
So can we please go to once?
This one?
So can we go back to the? So can we please go back once to the last slide? Just once? Yes, sir. Just once.
This one.
Done, sir. Done.
Okay.
Done, sir. Done.
A fictional component that changes meaning or subclass of noun. For example, you can see the example. Look at here. Using suffix dom, right? And king. King is noun. And kingdom is also noun, right? You can see meaning there. You can see meaning here. Okay, let me use this pen. It's not difficult. It's a very minor thing, very common thing, and useful also. The suffix. This is suffix. And tentative meaning, not always exactly same. You can see king plus dumb, mater plus dumb, pan plus dumb, and so on. So, is there category change? King is noun, right? And you can see ship, state, condition, for ship, editorship, friendship, monger, for example, scandal monger, scaremonger, warmonger, right? So again, I will show you some more example. Don't worry about example. I am saying that we can derive new words or derivation morphology works? One, changing category, and next, preserving category, not changing category. So category preserving, you can see many example here. Okay, what is there? Category is noun, prefix is anti, a tentative meaning against, and status productive. You can produce many words. That means productive means, right? Simply, we'll come to the point about what is productive and what is non-productive later. See, anti, slavery. You can see slavery, and this prefix. What? Anti-slavery. Even you write anti, slavery is also noun, right? And anti-slavery is also noun. No category change. Meaning is change. And here anti, vivisection, anti-war. These two are also similar. Meaning changing, but word class not changing. So you can see next noun, right? Anti, antecedent, for example, is lexicalized, is non-productive. We cannot add in many places. That means it has limited use. I'll come to the point what is productive and what is lexicalized later. Okay, for right now, let's forget this. Reversal, unpack, for example, right? Unravel, for example, unweight, for example, unzip, for example. So meaning is different. Means new word, unpack. Pack is one word, and unpack is different word. Another word. It has different meaning. But word class is same. Whatever is here, you can see, right? Let's not waste our time. Every is adjective, verb, and so on. So this is the first way of deriving new word. Category preserving. Remember, category preserving means not changing parts of speech, if we say traditionally, and right now whatever we can say, word class, maintaining word class, right? See, category changing derivational morpheme. And in English,
I just asked the same question.
I think Sir got disconnected.
Yes.
okay, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, and now we
Feedback,
can
okay.
hear you.
There is problem, internet problem. Category changing, deriving new word or new words by changing word class or class of speech. This is the very simple definition, for example, and there are many ways of changing category in English. So one is stress pattern also. You can see stress in the first syllable or in the second syllable. That is one. You can see you don't have, I think you don't have a lot of idea about this. For your kind information, this way, one, right? And vowel, for example.
Does that mean, excuse me, sir?
Yes.
Like, for example, that address means like address and address. Is that what it's talking about?
Okay, let me, if you want, I'll use this dictionary. Okay. Let me share this Oxford dictionary. Okay, here. Address is here. Now, generally, what happens if you have idea of pronunciation? In case of noun, stress falls in first syllable, and in case of verb, you can see stress here. It falls on second syllable. See pronunciation. This is raw sound. Can you see?
Yes, sir. That's
Raw
what I'm
sound.
saying.
This is raw sound. This next one is a sound, and this is a short sound. Right? Common convention is that in English, If in case of noun, it falls on, in case of monosyllabic generally, stress fall on the first syllable and verb second. That is the thing.
No.
To see how does this morphology change word class, verb into noun. There are so many suffixes right here. Mostly we use suffix here to change noun, sorry, to change word class. In this case also you can see is changing verb into noun, right? And we can say this is added over here is a very complex thing in linguistics because language is what native speakers speak. That's why breakage you can see break and breakage, cover and is, right? Shrink and is, and spoil and is. See, converting verb into noun. And so is the case of this all suffix. Arrive, e has been dropped here, right? Approve, approval, refusal, survival, withdrawal, and ends also accept plus ends, right? And ion, destruct plus ion, destruction, instruction, production, reduction, and meant, right? And these are common convention. I can say only when we add az in verb, it becomes noun. It is not so. It's simple or general convention. As I said, there are lots of exceptional cases. So you can find elsewhere also the word ending az. This is one, verb turning into noun as given in our textbook. Now verb into adjectives and vice versa. The first one you can see verb into adjective, able, approachable, believable, breakable, liable, readable, verb into adjective, and adjective into verb, IZE. For example, civilize, civilize, legalize, etc. Right? So many others are there. Class changing, derivational morphology. So morpheme, these are morpheme. Right? Don't be confused with this. Able, IZE, they're attached here. And these are example only. You don't have to worry. You don't have to memorize everything. Simply, you need to have concept about this. I'm talking about derivational morphology. In derivational morphology, we derive words into two ways. One is maintaining the class, not changing word class, I mean, or not changing parts of a speech, I mean. The next one is changing parts of a speech or word class. So you can see other verb into adjective and into noun. So these are example, for example, given in our book. So I talk about inflectionals and derivational morphology. Now we can discuss if you have any confusion about this. What is inflectional morphology or inflectional ways of deriving word? And what is derivational morphology and ways of deriving words in this? Do you have any confusion? Anybody?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Rajendra sir.
Could you go over the derivational once again, please?
This one. Yes.
Derivational, yes. Thank you.
And the same slide I have shown you last time also. We discussed about this, the same thing. It was there in our previous class also. And Prakash sir, are you ready to present?
Yes, sir. I am waiting, sir.
Yeah, we have 15 minutes time before break. Would you like to
Yes, sir.
now?
I'm ready, but my Wi-Fi is not functioning well, so I'm because of power cut off.
Today, yeah, right now also there's no electricity.
Yes, sir. I'm using my mobile phone.
Okay, okay then. Whenever you'll have that opportunity, we'll do this one. Do you have any question,
As
please?
soon as yes, I'll inform you, sir. As soon as
Okay.
I get.
Does anybody have any question here? What is derivational morphology? As I saw, let me go back to the same video. Okay, it will talk about inflectional and derivationals. I'll just show you some parts only. Here I have. Okay, let me share this just for a while. I think it will. Sorry. Okay, it will make it clear. Sharing. Yes.
Are derivational. They change meaning or part of speech or both. Bound morphemes are also affixes, and affixes are bound morphemes. Have you noticed that some bound morphemes seen here go at the beginning of the word and some others go at the end? Affixes cataloging let us know the position of the morphemes. In English, there are two types of affixes, the ones that go at the beginning, that are called prefixes, pre because they go at the beginning, and the ones that go at the end, that are called suffixes. So in the last video, we got until derivational morphemes, the ones that can change either the meaning or the word class or both.
Okay. Did you get the sentence he said?
Yes,
Derivational
sir.
morphology either change
Right.
word class or meaning, or sometimes both also. So you can write your own what meaning or definition of derivational morphology. So let's play a.
However, that is not their official categorization. Derivational morphemes are divided in two, class changing and class maintaining. Class changing, as the name says, are derivational morphemes that change the function or class of the word from a noun to a verb, noun to adjective, adjective to adverb, verb to noun, and so on. Don't worry, it is not that hard. Let me explain it better for you. With only adding a class-changing affix to a word, you can nominalize it, which means turning it into a noun, verbalize it, which means turning it into a verb, adjectivize it, which means turning it into an adjective, and verbalize it, which means ding ding ding, turning it into an adverb. We can get nouns out of verbs and adjectives. We can get verbs out of nouns and adjectives. We can get adjectives out of nouns and verbs. And we can get adverbs out of nouns and adjectives. Class maintaining. They are those that don't change the function or class of the word. The word stays the same. However, it can change the meaning of the word, and it does. Spiritual is something related to religion or concerning to the soul. Spiritualist is now a person who is interested in the spiritual world or belongs to the movement of spiritualism. Both are adjectives, but mean different things. Brother is a person who is related to you as part of your family, and brotherhood is a relationship between brothers or an association or community of people linked by religion or social status. They are both nouns, but they mean different things. The same happens with the case of bearable, which is an adjective, and unbearable, which keeps being an adjective, but they mean opposite things. And the same exact thing happens with appear and disappear. If you can notice, inflectional morphemes are all suffixes. Most of class change and derivational morphemes are also suffixes. There are only few exceptions. This means that most prefixes, the ones that go at the beginning, are class maintaining. You may say, well, if class maintaining don't change the part of speech or word class, why aren't they cataloged as inflectional? Remember that class maintaining also change the meaning and inflectional don't change the meaning, neither the word class. They might have a rule function to express either plural or possessions or comparisons, but the changes made by inflectional morphemes are slight. They are important, of course, because otherwise they wouldn't exist, but the changes are slighter than the changes made by any derivational morpheme. If you notice, when we use morphemes, there can occur some spelling changes. There are some cases that don't seem to have rules for the spelling when adding a morpheme, but here we can point some examples and patterns. For example, doubling the final consonant in some cases. In many instances, dropping the E, changing Y for I, or just removing the Y. Co is sometimes changed by cool. For adding the suffix full to words that end in double L, we drop one L. Changing the T for the double S. There were some changes given in some cases. Let's give it a practice.
Okay, did you get the difference between inflection and derivation?
Yes, sir, that is clear. But there's like in your definition, there are two conditions. So
Yes.
for one condition, it says like is not conditioned by the grammatical context. And another condition is any other word with the similar meaning can replace the word. I was a little kind of like not clear on those two parts. For the second part, it also applies to the inflection as well. For example, he eats rice, he consumes rice, in a sense, right?
Yes. It's in derivation. For example, it says if you mention her, she said, let me use the pen. In derivation, what happens in inflection? For example, it in any language or one. This is one word, right? And this is another word, right? And there can be, for example, eating also, for example, eat also, right? And eaten also. According to definition, what happens? Slightly. Meaning is not sense, meaning is same. Eat and its. For example, you can convert into Nepali also, right? According to pronoun only, according to noun only, forms are changed. But meaning is not changed. Did you get my point here? And second one, because this occurrence of eat, occurrence of eats, occurrence of ate, these all are conditioned by grammar. According to tense, according to person, right? This means what? The rule of grammar, conditioned by grammar, right? But if you write in place of eat, if you write, you said consume, right? Is it determined by grammar or your choice? Word choice. What does this mean?
Your choice.
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 You are at the right position, I mean. Eat and consume are two lexemes, but eat, airs, eating, eaten, these are words. Remember this, I'm saying two things, two terms right now. Words and lexeme, right? Lexeme, right? So if I wanted to talk about lexeme also, I thought you'd be confused. So you drove me toward the point, right? So this is exactly what I mean, right? Eat and consumes are two lexemes, but different form of eat. These are words, right? I'm talking about words, right? So, and selection of words.
Sir,
Yes, please.
excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
So that would mean that eat, eats, eaten, and all the words that come, they all come under inflectional.
Yes, they are words, different words of same lexeme.
So it all comes on. So it all comes on. It comes under inflectional then,
Yeah, inflectional. That is inflectional one.
because the meaning. Okay, sir. Thank you.
That is inflectional one. Meaning is same, right? Only condition by
I
grammar.
got. So meaning is same, but a
Condition
condition by grammar. Yes, sir, I got it.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. But if you use this one and this consume and it, it's not demand of grammar. You want to use another different lexeme with different feeling, perception in the mind of listeners or reader. Rajendra sir,
Yes, sir.
are you clear now? Are you okay?
That's fine,
You
sir.
are,
Thank you.
yeah, you are curious. I respect your question. You are good, right? And if you ask question, then only we can discuss. But I here, for example, I brought two terminology. Remember this: words and lexemes. They are also part of linguistic, right? You need to have idea of what does word mean and what does lexeme means, right? So in derivation, just remember that what happens: new word, words with, for example, new meaning will be used or derived. But in inflection morphology, what happens? Different form of word with same or similar meaning are derived. I think if you know these two concepts, it's okay, right? In inflection morphology, what happens? We simply derive different words having similar meaning, but in derivational morphology, what happens? We derive new words with new meaning, maybe of same class, maybe of different class, or having both chances, different word with different word class. That is the summary before our break, right? And if you have any question, we can discuss after break also. I think you are also feeling bored. It's 5:55, 555, right? After 10 to 15 minutes, we'll again resume our class. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just 10 to 15 minutes.
Excuse me, sir. I just wanted to ask one more question.
Yes,
So
madam.
lexeme is so what is actually what is lexeme then? Lexeme and they are also words only, no, sir?
Yeah, there's also a word.
So how do we define it then? Like as in
I'll show you definitely
lexeme.
if you are interested. Okay, don't be confused. See, in linguistics, what is a word or several words that have a meaning that is not expressed by any of its separate part. For example, you know, it's eat, eats, right? And
Yes,
eats,
yes,
and they all are from it. You can say base form, right? You got my point?
yes, sir.
It is lexeme, and if you
They are all,
change, right? Eats, for example, ate, for example, eaten, for example, these are different words of one lexeme. Eat.
yes.
That is the common
Okay, so
explaining this. Yeah.
So we legend is like the root word or the main word
Yes.
that can be changed into different.
Yeah, different
That
forms.
can be changed into different words.
Yeah, different
Yes.
forms.
Different
Yes.
forms.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
That is.
Thank you, sir. Don.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, is it break time, sir? Hello.
Yes, it is break time, sir.
Yeah, how long?
We are.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir, Prakash, sir. Yes, Rajendra, sir, are you speaking?
Yes, I was looking at the conditions for the derivational, and the reason I think why I got confused was because of the second condition. Because the second condition, what is the like use of the second condition? Because again, as I gave you the example, it also fulfills the criteria for inflection as well, right? The main important difference would be the one is like in a condition by grammatical context, another would be derivational, which is not conditioned by grammatical context, which kind of like clarifies, like it differentiates like those two types. But then we have the second condition, which it for me right now it feels like it's not necessary. But why is it necessary to include it?
Second condition by grammar. You mean
No,
that?
not the grammar. Second condition is any other word with a similar meaning can replace the word. So that
Yes.
when I'm
Just you
looking at
said
it,
eat and consume, right?
yeah,
That
which is
replace. You can
yes,
replace.
but that also kind of applies to the inflectional as well if we apply that, although it's not mentioned there.
No, in inflection, what happens as in this, in inflection, what happens is same word. You cannot replace word, right? You can
Yes.
change form only,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
not the word.
Yes, that's understood, sir. But these are the conditions that we use to check whether like a something is like an inflectional or derivational. For example, if we were using the optimality like that theory that we learned before, right?
Yes.
So these two could be that conditions that we apply to see whether a morpheme is like inflectional or derivational. So I was just curious, why do we need the second condition? Why is it so important? That was my question, sir.
I can share it. Just give me your example, Rajendra sir. I'll discuss
I
your
was looking
example.
at it, and the more I looked at it, it became more clear to me.
Yes.
But just the second part was a little confusing. Why this second condition was included? Just that part only.
I cannot catch. What do you mean by second part, sir? What do you mean by second part? Which second part?
Yeah, for derivational morpheme, you had two different conditions in your slide, right?
Yes.
So one is like not conditioned by grammatical context. Another is like any other word with a similar meaning can replace it. So that is the second part that I did not get it like clearly. Why do we? Why did we include that in?
For example,
In a,
in place of performance, if you
yes.
skills, any other word, suitable word, you can separately replace this one.
Yes, like concert we used,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So similarly for he eats rice, they eat rice, which
Yes.
eat and eats, they are like inflectional. So we can
Yes.
also use this second condition there as well. But
For example,
I know the same example I gave you, like
no, eats and consumes. These are two different lexemes, sir. It's not different word.
yes,
It's a condition of lexemes, right?
yes,
If
yes,
you are
sir.
using inflectional
Similarly,
one, if you replace we eats with consumes, that is not inflectional. That is derivational use.
yes, sir. I got it, sir. My
Yes.
only question is that even like perform the performance and the concert, they're also lexemes,
No,
right?
they are different word, different lexeme. For example, in place of perform, for example, performance, you cannot write performs, right? That is inflectional use. You cannot write. If you can write, then that is conditioned by grammar. It's not demand of grammar, right?
Yes.
Same,
Yes, sir.
remember this is same forms of different forms of same lexeme. If you can use according to grammar, then only that is inflectional. Otherwise, that is derivational. If I'm good enough to convince you, in case of eats and consumes also, if you write consumes in place of eats, that is not inflectional. Right? If you are supposed to write another form, for example, if you change pronoun, if you change object, if you change subject, and if you change verb, if something is demanded, another form, same word is demanded, then that is called inflectional.
So can I share my screen for a
Sorry.
moment?
For example, if you write concert in place of perform, that is not conditioned by grammar. That is conditioned by your,
Yes, sir.
right? Your diction, choice of your diction, right? That's why that is not in,
Yes.
is derivational, right? So the change of words, right? Or let's say in general sense that is word, but in technical sense that is lexeme, right? Is conditioned by grammar, then only that is inflectional, not derivational, right? But if you want to write another word means different meaning. Another word means here different words, right? Different words.
Different words, but it could be synonyms, right?
Yeah, synonyms, not the form.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can write synonyms also. You can write any others. If you want to change in meaning of sentence, you can write anything, right? Of the same word class in this,
Yes, sir.
not elsewhere, in same place. For example, in the place of noun, we can simply write noun only, not the verb, right? And not the same, different form of same word. For example, eat, eats, right? Eating, ate, etc. These are same word. These all are same word, different words, same lexeme, right? I'll come to the point of lexeme again, right? If you have some confusion, we can discuss there also. But only one thing I want to make over here is if a different form of same word is demanded by grammar, that is inflectional morphology, comes under inflectional morphology, right? And
Yes, sir.
if you write different other words, it means words of different lexeme, right? Having different meaning. For example, the consume is one word, it is another one. Then that is the product of, or that comes under derivational morphology. That is the.
Kumar sir,
Yes, sir.
may I present now?
Yeah, okay, please. Now you can start. It's already 16. Our break is almost over. I think we all are here.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Yeah, you can start sharing.
Yes, sir. Thereafter, after sharing.
Yeah, I'll continue my class.
Yeah. Is my presentation visible, sir?
Okay, sir. Now.
Is it visible, sir?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Is it visible? Is it visible, sir?
Yes. It's about phrase.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Good afternoon, namaste, sir, and my dear friends. It is assigned to me to present about verb phrase today. Now I'm going to present the topic verb phrase, and I'm grateful to my mentor, Mr. Kumar Narayan Shrest, for your scholarly guidance and your suggestions about the different issues of linguistics. And now my topic covers introductions, what verb phrase is, and what are the different approaches to defining verb phrases, and some others solution proposed by Quark et al. And verb phrase relation with others, component, sentential component, complements. The objectives of my presentation is to define the basic concept of verb phrase and to familiarize the approaches to the verb phrase and to identify the relational position of complement. These are the objective of my presentation. Sir, I'm audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Here goes what is a verb phrase. This is the introductions of verb phrase. A verb phrase is a syntactic unit. Syntactic unit means sentential component composed of at least one verb and its dependents. That might be objects, that might be complements, and other modifiers that modify and that function together. What does this definition define means verb phrase is at least above itself, and it also combines other dependent components with it. And as regard to its definition, Glossary of Linguistic Terms in 2003 defines verb phrase from two angles. The first is in the traditional point of view. In traditional terminology, verb phrase is a phrase, a group of words, that is the head of it is the verb, that has syntactic role, sentential role, componential role of simple verb, and is composed of main verb and auxiliary verbs or verbal particle related syntactically to the verbs. The first traditional point of view defines verb phrase is the combination of main verb or auxiliary verbs, that is main verb and auxiliary verb. The second point of view by this glossary of linguistic terms defines in generative grammatical sense. This is generative grammar is developed by Noam Chomsky. What he defines grammar is the mental construct. And according to this point of view, a verb phrase is a syntactic unit, that is sentential component that corresponds to the predicate, including auxiliary objects, object complements, and other constituents apart from the subject. From this point of view, verb phrase is the syntactic unit or sentential component apart from the subject. From the functional point of view, predicate, what verb means is that verb phrase means that the verb combining auxiliary verbs, object complements, adverbials, these in as a whole what defines or signifies a verb phrase. So we can say that from the functional point of view, predicate is in overall sense, this is what verb phrase. I think here in this topic, I discuss here types of verb phrase. Mainly there are two types of verb phrases, finite verb phrase and the non-finite verb phrase. Finite verb phrase is a form of verb that shows augment with subject and is marked for tense. A finite verb can stand by itself in a sentence. It is sometimes called main verb or tense verb because it signifies some tense. For example, I walked home, we saw a deer. What the verb phrase walked home and saw a deer clearly defines the tense and stands alone themselves, so they are finite verb phrases. Non-finite verb phrases take three different forms: the infinitive, the participles, and the gerund, which are not marked for tense and do not show agreement with the subject. Mainly non-finite verb phrases has three different forms: infinitive, participles, and gerund forms. For example, looking around, he noticed a letter on the floor. Here in the sentences, looking around, which is in gerund form, it is a non-finite verb phrase. The next sentence, worn out by the heat, they stop for a drink. The first phrase, this is not finite phrase, this is in participle form. So I think you are clear about the types of verb phrases. Now I'm going to talk about the first approach to verb phrase, how verb phrase is defined. This is the first approach. According to this approach, verb phrase is seen as a equivalent component with the noun phrase and adjective phrase and other adverbial phrase. The NP noun phrase, the verb phrase, and the verb phrase adjuncts have same hierarchical label, which are all immediate constituents. Constituents means your elements of the clause. Clause is a small sentence. We can see in the diagram, bracketed diagram, the students have completed their assignment just recently. Here, the first noun phrase have completed verb phrase, and again noun phrase, and again adverb phrase. They are in the hierarchical same level: noun phrase, verb phrase, noun phrase, adjective, adverbial phrase. Again, in this diagram, this clearly shows that verb phrase is the essential component of a sentence, equivalent to noun phrase and other adjective phrase and adverb phrase that comes in the sentences. For example, the student have completed. The student here noun phrase, have completed here verb phrase. Again, their assignment here noun phrase, and just recently adverb phrase. These are in the hierarchical position. So by this definition, by this approach, we can say that verb phrase is one of the important constituent or one of the important element of the clause or sentences. Now, I talk about second approach to verb phrase. According to this approach, noun phrase, the auxiliary, and the verb phrase have the same hierarchical label, and this approach is recent version of generative syntax. According to this approach, clause is divided into noun phrase, auxiliaries, and verb phrase. Here the label of noun phrase, auxiliaries, and verb phrase. The difference is that the auxiliary verb is separated from the main verb in this approach. So we can say that here verb phrase is not the important element with the auxiliary verbs, but verb phrase here signifies only the main verb and other complements which comes in the sentences. So by this diagram, we can see that the first noun phrase, determiner, the students, noun students, this is in the one of the important element in the sentences, and auxiliary verb here have, and the verb phrase here completed itself main verb, and here their assignment noun phrase, determiner, noun, and adverb phrase just recently. By this diagram, we can understand that verb phrase comprises of main verb and other complements that comes in the sentences. Sir, I'm audible?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, please go on.
Yes.
Okay. According to these two approaches, there are some problems in defining the verb phrase. So Quirk et al. Quirk and other writers and other linguists propounded other approaches to verb phrase in the functional approaches, functional aspect. Noun phrase mainly functions as a subject, and predicate is the doings of what subject does, or the actions what subject does. So subject and predicate are the immediate constituents of independent clause in which predicate contains operator and predications. According to this Quark et al. Approach, sentence or independent clause can be divided into two categories, two classes. The subject, which is in noun phrase in its elemental usage, but in the functional perspective, functional position, this is subject, he. And the predicate indicates that this is auxiliary verbs, as well as main verb, as well as other complements, other adjuncts, other adverbials, adverb phrase. For example, here, he, subject, had auxiliary verb, operator, because it operates the relationship between subject and other main verb and other complements, so that we can say that had is an operator. It operates a relationship in between subject and other predications. Here predicate refers to the actions, what subject does, and predicate incorporates auxiliary verb, main verb, as well as other complements, other adjunct, other adverbial phrases, adjective phrases. So I think it's clear. Now I talk about the relation of complements together with the verb or verb phrase. Complements and other supplementary elements like adverb phrase, like adjective phrase that come together with the verb phrase. Actually, what the relations it has, verb phrase has about it, I discussed in brief. Above, verb complements. A complement is any word or phrase that completes the sense of subject or an object or a verb or as a whole sentences. So complements often functions is the complete meaning of the whole sentences. Without complement, verb does not function well. That's why verb has intricate relationship with the complements. For that, verb comprises or consists of direct object and indirect object. For example, he gave me an apple. Here he, subject, and gave me an apple. This is a predicate, or this is verb phrase. Here me is an indirect object, and apple is direct object, because the main function of objective of he is an apple, so it is direct object. Call me if you have any queries. Call me here is direct object. Mr. Jack left his son all his property. Here his son is a direct object, his property is direct object. So we can say that verb has a very important relationship with the complement. Here, to identify verb phrase, we also must have clear concept about middle adjuncts and verb phrase. What is the relation between middle adjuncts and verb phrase? Here, an adjunct means thing added for something, for supplementary, for the emphasis, or for some purposes. Adjunct is an thing that is added. So an adjunct is a word or phrase, usually an adverbial, generally an adverbial phrase or adverb phrase, that is integrated within the structure of phrase or clause. So adverb adjunct or middle adjunct that is integrated within the structure of clause or phrase. BP, verb phrase, consists of just auxiliaries and main verb. What our concept is that, the traditional concept is that verb phrase only refers to auxiliary verb and main verbs. Sometimes middle adjunct occurs in the middle verb phrase. Sometimes it happens that middle adjunct that come in the middle verb phrase. For example, he is very much repeatedly raising his issues of medical reform in the forum. Here in this sentence, is very much repeated raging. So that here in between is auxiliary verb and raging. In between this very much repeatedly, this is middle adjunct. This is also very important component within the verb phrase. So the relations with the middle adjunct with the verb phrase is very, very important. The former Treasury Minister of Estonia, George, was last night publicly criticizing EU fiscal policy. Here, in between was and criticizing last night publicly, this is also middle adjunct. So we must be familiar with this concept as well. Verb phrase in between, they can both contain this middle adjunct too. Now, how to identify verb phrase? There are some tests of verb phrase, whether it is verb phrase or not. According to some rules, verb phrase is tested with the substitutions. Noun is often substituted or replaced with a pronoun, and noun phrase and adjective phrase and preposition phrase, they are replaced with a so. This is adverb so. Adopting the assumptions that prove from replaces constituent, leading to the conclusion that the verb and its complement must be constituents. According to this proposition rules, we can conclude that verb phrase also replaced by some constituent element. For example, Raman has left the office. Here, has left the office. It is the part of verb phrase. Here, has left the office. So we can say that so has his secretary. Here, the action of leaving the office, this is replaced by the so here. So that we can say that this is verb phrase. Next example, I love eating ice cream. Here, the action of I love eating ice cream. Here, this is replaced by so. So does Ram, my brother. Here, so also replaces what this love eating ice cream. This is overall as a verb phrase. So above and its complement is replaced by with the to. After so, we can replace verb phrase with the do. With do. Examples: if my friend Sam loves to visit Singapore, he can do. Here, the love of my friend Sam to visit Singapore. Here, this phrase, the intentions, the actions of Mr. Sam is represented by do, so that we can say that this is loves to visit Singapore because it is replaced by do. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, we are listening, please. Go on.
Listening. Okay, sir.
Yeah, we are listening.
The second approach of testing or identifying verb phrase is the approach of movement or predicate inversion. Sometimes predicate is inverted. The first is fronting a constituent is structure dependent. However, they may be moved from that position for a particular communicative effect by looking at the front constituent or front part of the verb phrase, or the verb is fronted with its complement, while simplifying fronting a verb without its complement is impossible. Here, I think the concept will be clarified with the examples. Here, the fronting. This is the act of moving front. Look at here, sorry, the news when it comes. This verb phrase, the news when it comes. Actually, this when it comes is indicating the news. It is moving back front part. So he seems to take well enough this verb phrase. Actually, this is verb phrase because it moves to the fronting part, to the fronting constituents. So we can say that sometime verb phrase that move ahead. front, so that by this what approach of testing, approach of identifying verb phrase, we can say that with this approach we can identify whether it is verb phrase or not. Next is here the officer and all subordinates, officers and all subordinates, other steps under this officer during office time wear ties and very smart they look too. Here we can say that this they look too. Actually moving or fronting ahead, very smart. Actually we can say that this structure is predicate inversion as well. They look very smart. They can be moved ahead as well. So that they look too, this is verb phrase with signals ahead, so that we can say that by this approach of testing, we can identify, we can define whether this constituents or this element is verb phrase or not. Verb phrase testing, another approach is coordination. Mainly here we use coordinating conjunction. When used coordinating conjunction, coordination is typically signaled by a link or term at conjunctions. With the use of conjunction, we can identify whether it is verb phrase or not. For example, one is coordination of clause. Coordinating conjunction mainly for and, but. It was a beautiful day and. This is conjunction. This is relating or coordinating with the sky was blue. Here, it was beautiful, and was blue. These are the verb phrases, and the and is coordinating in between these two elements. Here, coordination of prepositional phrase, you can write a letter by a pen or by a computer. Here, using or coordinate conjunctions by the coordination of the prepositional phrases by computer and by a pen, we can identify this is can write a letter, this is verb phrase. Here, coordination of noun. My brother and sister live in London. Here, with the coordination of and. Here, my brother, this is noun phrase, sister, noun phrase, with the coordination of two nouns. With the help of this coordinating conjunction, live in London, this is verb phrase. And next is coordination of phrase, both verb and complements. Here, the example clarifies this ideas, this concept. You should study hard and pass the test. Here, study hard and pass the test. Because of this coordination between this pass and study and the complement the test, we can say that these are the verb phrases. Now, next concept is stack auxiliaries. Stack auxiliary means a sequence of auxiliary verbs, more than one auxiliaries. Actually, this means because of this stack auxiliaries, there are some changes. The aspectual properties of some auxiliaries has and been. Aspect refers to the progressive, either perfective or something else, that is morphologically or distributionally share finite and non-finite features. Infinite, they show agreement morphology. Yeah, I think the example will clarify this. Ram has had, been having snacks. Here, the stack sequence of has had actually signifying the aspectual characteristics. She is and was reading a novel. With these two auxiliaries, stack auxiliaries, and what reading here, actually making differences in meaning because of this been and was be verb and here has been and had been. Because of the stack of the auxiliaries, it is making differences in aspect of the sentence. The finite auxiliary can remain outside sometime the verb phrase. I think he might have been reading a book. Here, have been reading a book. So his brother might have. This so his brother might have. Indeed, they are signaling the fronting verb phrase and the sometime finite auxiliary verb. They can be outside of the verb phrase as well. Here, stack auxiliary verbs and tree diagram, we can see that here clause stack structure in tree diagram shows constituent relations and to encode the scopal relation of the auxiliaries. Here, constituency means elemental. Here, noun phrase, auxiliaries is self-constituents. This is the second approach of defining verb phrase, and here verb phrase. Here, actually, the student noun phrase, here auxiliary verb might, here verb phrase have, here been again, this is scopal, have been writing. Again here verb phrase, here verb phrase, here again verb phrase, here again verb phrase. Scopal relation, this is noun phrase, auxiliary verb phrase, this is constitutional relations, and these are others scopal relations. They also make differences in meaning and other relations. And for this presentation, I used Arts, Bass, and Lillian Hajim, and Book of English Linguistics, and Glossary of Linguistic Terms, as well as I got the ideas from the delivery of our mentor, Sir Kumar Sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Does anybody have question? We want to discuss with Prakash sir. Any confusion? It's simply repetition. Maybe you got a new concept also, or you clear the confusion if you had, let's say. Is there any question? Anybody? The floor is silent. This means there is no question.
Hey, stop share, sir.
Okay, thank you. You can stop your sharing.
Thank you so much for your passion, listening. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I'm going to continue the class again. Maybe you are feeling too much bored. It's a nature of subject also. I'm so you may forget, you may not have passions for this dry subject. Okay, the subject matter is very easy because, as I said earlier, this is compound, right? Today I'm going to talk about compounds, and if time permits, I think we don't have a lot of time, 45 minutes around, and I'll talk about another way of word formation. You know, compound words. Okay, if you are feeling sleepy and somehow boring, let's make sound. Here are some words. See, this is activating. Indicate the structure of compounding of the following word. So let's discuss how do these words have formed. Cheer, roughneck.
Rough plus neck.
Right, rough and neck. You can see it's very common. This girlfriend, right? Next one is
Waterproof.
Waterproof. Next one.
Along and
Water and
side.
proof.
Next 4 number. Alongside. Here is a hyphen, right? A common convention is that if the word is not quite common, there is a trend of using hyphen, right? If you want to make or make compounding, right?
So bittersweet has hyphen.
Yeah, there is hyphen, and I'll come to the point, right? Your question is genuine. Some dictionary they do not, and some dictionary they have, right? That's why dictionary means they form dictionary,
Yeah, I think some use, some.
right? And as I
So
said,
it's used as an oxymoron. So I hyphen.
yeah, did you get my point?
Because it's used.
There is variation in use.
Ajay?
Some linguists they prefer hyphen, some they do not.
Ajay.
And even some dictionary they have, and other they don't. So we can discuss on this. We can simply say that I'll come to the point, right? There is variation, right, in using hyphen. Some use, some use,
Yes, sir.
right, and some they do not. The baby said,
Some don't.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
that is not in our hand. That's why, baby said here.
So that means all words that have hyphens will also come, right, sir? If
Yeah,
it's compounding.
yeah, that's right. But there's no,
Other words.
yeah, there's no agreement. For example, some people write, even in baby shit also they use hyphen, right? There's no agreement, right, in using hyphen. There's variation. Some people prefer,
Yes, sir.
and some they do not. But as I
Hmm.
their common convention is that, right? If people are used to, they do not use, right? And if it's new trend, right? And if the user they think this is new formation, they use hyphen. Common, I'm saying this is the language of layman, right? Convention of layman. So as I said, even dictionary, you can see different dictionary, they have different entry of the same word because of hyphen and because of not using hyphen. Okay, let's see. Number 7 also. Overwhelming. 8 number. 8 number. Upload. Look through it. And short-lived. So in this way, I think you got some concept of compounding. It's not new thing, but it has some technical aspect behind this. Let's talk about this and definition also. So in the introductory part of our lesson, right, it has talked different ways of word formation. Basically, prefixation, suffixation, and compounding. And you can see the red funded here, compound and minor types of word formation. There are other way of, if you go to the Georgial, right, it has lot of thing. I'm not going to discuss about this because our concern today is talk about compounds and minor types of word formation. Okay, again, look at the thing. We can form word through prefixation and suffixation. It means recently we discussed about inflectional morphology and derivational morphology. These two can be discussed under these two heading. And next one is compounding. Now I'm going to start how words are formed through compounding. You can see. And beside these 4 also, all other remaining miscellaneous ways of word formation come under minor types of word formation. There are many, right? In short, we will discuss about this. Okay, let's proceed ahead. And here is one very short video, right? I think it will help you to clear your concept. That's right. I'm gonna play this about compounding. Okay, where is that? It's not here. Okay, it's ready.
At Grammar Songs by Melissa. You have learned about many parts.
Can you hear the sound?
Yes, sir.
Of speech in the English
Yes, sir.
language and how they work together when you read, speak, or write. You have also learned that contractions are words used in the English language. Two words are shortened to make one word, and a special mark called an apostrophe stands in place of the missing letter or letters. So what is a compound word? More importantly, how can understanding compound words make me a better reader? Let's get started. A compound word is a combination of two or more words that function as a single unit of meaning. Huh? What? Let me show you. Take the word mailbox, for example. It's a compound word made up of two nouns put together, mail and box. The two words go together to form a new word with a different meaning, mailbox. But unlike a contraction, none of the letters are left out and replaced by an apostrophe. The compound word mailbox contains all the letters from the word mail and all the letters from the word box. So a compound word is like two words glued together. Yes, two nouns. Well, compound words can be made up of two nouns, but they can also contain words from other parts of speech as well. Many compound words are made up of combined nouns. For example, star and fish make the compound word starfish, and cup and cake make the compound word cupcake. But compound words can be made up of combinations of other parts of speech. The verb play can be combined with the noun ground to form the compound word playground. And the adjective hot can be combined with the noun dog to make the compound word hot dog. Oh, okay. The important thing about compound words is that once the two words are glued together, their combination creates a whole new meaning. Take hot dog, for example. Something that is hot can be spicy or quite warm in temperature. And a dog is an animal that we prize and love as a pet. But putting the two words together makes a food we eat. This could be quite confusing for people learning to speak English. I love hot dogs, but I never thought about that. The other important thing about compound words is to recognize them when you read. The butterfly flew to the sunflower. Since two words are glued together, compound words appear longer than many other words. Don't let compound words intimidate or scare you when you are reading. Look for the smaller words inside the big word to make reading easier. Like butter and fly, or sun and flower. Exactly. Let's read a short story together and look for compound words. We're ready. Let's do it. We'll read each word, and if we see a big word, we won't get scared. It may be a compound word. Right, we can look for the smaller words inside. I want to read. Okay. My family took a trip to the beach. We saw a... Uh-oh. Okay, don't get scared. Let's look for smaller words within the big word. Do you see any smaller words inside this big word? I see the word life and the word guard. Very good. Lifeguard is a compound word made up of the words life and guard. A lifeguard is someone who keeps swimmers safe at the beach. May I read next? I want to turn. Of course. We made a big, Okay, don't get scared. Let's look for smaller words within the big word. Do you see any smaller words inside this big word? I see the word sand and the word castle. Very good. Sandcastle is a compound word made up of the words sand and castle. People make sandcastles at the beach. My turn. Okay. In the water, We saw a... Uh-oh. Okay, don't get scared. Let's look for smaller words within the big word. Do you see any smaller words inside this big word? I see jelly. And I see fish. Excellent. Jellyfish is a compound word made from the words jelly and fish. A jellyfish is an unusual type of ocean animal people can see at the beach. Hooray! You've earned a trophy for learning about compound words. Thank you for joining me at...
Okay. Did you get the basic concept of compound word? Can you define what is it?
Yes, sir.
Can you define?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
So it's two words joined together without changing, without removing any letters. For example, there are two words that can be joined together to make one word, like do and not, but then that's contraction because we remove letters. But here in compound words, we do not remove any letters. We join all the letters
And
to
what?
make one word.
Sorry?
Sorry, I didn't get you, sir. Sorry.
Maybe
It's a combination of two words combined to
words?
one to a new word with a different meaning.
Yes, I want to
Ajay?
get different meaning, right? There will be combination of
Exactly, sir.
but one single meaning, right? That is the thing. That is the
Without
right?
removing.
Without removing what?
Word is a combination of two or more words that function as a
Without removing
single word of meaning.
Okay. See, compound word is a combination of two or more words that function as a single unit of meaning, right? They will have single meaning. Maybe you can get signal of meaning and sometimes you may not get. There are two conditions. We'll come to the point, right? Sometime the words you hear, you can guess its meaning also, and sometimes it will be quite confusing. That's why right now, while defining compound word, what we can say is that is a combination of two or more words that function as a, see the technical term, single unit of meanings. Two words, single unit of meaning, right? Okay, let's go ahead. More slide. Can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay. That is the definition, and there is somehow some difference between compounding and word formation, right? That is very difficult, right? And one thing what we can say is that compounds are more productive, as we talk about hyphen, right? Using hyphen, without using hyphen and using one word, we can make many words out of that. So rule. Look at here, word formation, right? It's a quite difference between this. And let's see what is productivity, as I talked earlier, and what is lexicalization. I talk about lexicalization also. If sudden structure is productive, what happens? Use information of new word. You can use that. Style can be followed. That means, but there can be exception. Let's not talk about exception because in language there is higher chance of, or in almost all of the cases there are exceptions, right? And next one is in productivity, it is not restricted by etymology. Etymology means simply origin of word, right? There will be some sort of history behind origin or starting of the word, right? But if the case we do not talk about etymology, right? And is far free from this. And of word classes also, right? Productive. There will be, for example, you can see work and work, worker, workers, swimmer is class sensitive. That means the involvement of classes also will be there. Lexicalization, don't be confused with productivity and lexicalization. This compounding is compounding feature has, or word formation through compounding has two forms, we can say. One is highly productive, and another process is lexicalization. In word formation, what we do, we use two words, and same pattern can be applied in other cases also. But lexicalization is a creative, is unique. Let's see what is there. The process of adding words, set phrases, or word pattern to a language, that is of adding item to the language lexicon, means new form, finding new word for that. It's not following the patterns. For example, you can talk about class wise, for example, section wise, for example, right? This class wise and section wise, the same format has worked, for example, right? Did you get my point? That is productive one. But in lexicalization, that is unique feature. Using form, you cannot make another word in lexicalization. Here is written. You can see the word. Let me show this here. Read not, but we cannot make another similar type of parallel from that, means, right? Like this. Lexicalization means idiomatic. You can see frogman and see flea market, right? In lexicalization, for example, frogman. Let me use another slide. I think I have here. Is there this one? No. Okay, let me go back. I forgot to use this. For example, let me share this dictionary here. So you the word, for example, frogman. From this word, okay, let me share. Okay, look at here. Frogman. What is the meaning of this word? A person who walks underwater wearing a rubber suit, flippers, and special equipment to help them breathe. So, the totally new word, right? That frog and man. Man is man. It is there, right? But we cannot guess. Frogman is not like frog. So creating new words. That means lexicalization is simply get the concept. The structure of productivity can be applied elsewhere to make new word, right? But in case of lexicalization is a creation of new word. The same pattern cannot be applied to form new word. Productivity means you can produce. These are the terminology used in compounding. Next is, I have already talked about words and lexemes. You know words means, for example, the same word perform, performs, performing, performed, right? If you are asked how many words are there, right? If you say 1, 2, 3, 4 words, then this is the questions of, as I said earlier. And if you say simply, if you say lexemes, right? One lexeme. If you say it has only one concept, then it is lexeme. It has one lexeme, that is perform, right? But it has four words. There are 4 words.
Sir.
Yes, please.
I have heard the word coinage. Yes, sir.
Sorry.
I have heard the word coinage.
Yes, I come to the point, sir. Wait. Coinage.
Next question. Okay, is that what type of speaker? Native speaker or second language speakers who actually lexicalize or produce the new version.
Yeah, non-native speaker, they don't have right to coin new word, I think, right? For example, you have heard different word used by Devkota and other in Nepali, right? The native speaker
Yes.
can coin, but non-native speaker also nowadays, we are in the context of world languages. World languages, what is said that other also have right. For example, English, we have also Nepalese English, Nenglish, what we call. That's why we have authority. But common convention is that only native speaker, right? They can coin, right? They can use, they can start new words. But there are some situations, for example, if you are a company owner and you can coin new word, right?
Yeah.
Is the trend. But right, as I said, we are in the age of globalization, and we have right to use our own language. English is also the language of uh, we people. That's why we can coin new term, right? Words. Are you confused or are you convinced on this issue? Word versus lexemes. Did you get the concept? I said already also. Words means different forms of word, for example, this, right? Uh, you can take this word form. This means word form. Lexeme means the basic form we call lexemes. For example, if you these all have same meaning, basic meaning. That is called lexeme, but they have grammatical meaning, different grammatical meaning. So if you talk about that sense, the different, right? So simple to know. So look at here. Items such as prefixes, roots, and unit like pickpocket, pocket, take off, right? That is stored in our mental dictionary. It's a different lexical item. Do you have any question here about words and lexemes?
Are lexical items idiomatic in nature? Yes, sir.
Not all are idiomatic. Idiomatic in the sense that they're in lexicalized item.
Yeah.
Lexicalized are idiomatic.
Example suits.
Right?
Yes.
Different thing. Lexeme is different thing.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is the difference between lexeme and stem or root?
The root stem, we last time also we discussed about that, right?
Yes.
This stem is different thing. I want to talk about root, right? If you talk about root form, right? That is somehow equivalent to lexeme, but not the stem. Did you get my point, sir? If you have clear concept about root and stem,
Yes, sir.
stand, right? Stem is different thing. Right? Out of performing also, you can make another word if there is possibility, right? That is stem, right? But root is which one is root here among these four?
Perform.
Yeah, this is equivalent to this one, lexeme.
Okay.
Are you clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, let's go ahead. These are the terms used in word formation. We know that compounds are made up of two lexemes. Not two words. And compound are lexemes in the sense that they have Y. Reflect like other complex lexemes. You get here. Compounds and lexemes are equivalent in the sense. Right? It means in dictionary, if there was noun, if compound nouns are there, they take inflection if you use in sentence. Inflection means it will have S form, it will have, for example, ED form maybe, right? And it is inflected by present simple past, etc. So lexemes in the sense they are same, compounds and lexemes, right? Inflect like simple lexemes have two or more lexemes basic. Unlike other simple lexemes, it means it will have two words, you can say. But two words in lexeme forms, not in the inflected form, right? And act as the head of relevant phrases. If we use in noun phrase, for example, in noun phrase, noun is head, and if it's compound noun, the compound noun will be head of that noun phrase. Did you get my point here? These are the characteristics of compounds. There should be two lexemes, two from compound word, one. Compounds and lexemes are equivalent, right? In the sense that, like simple lexemes, we are going to the term, okay? Now, not the word lexemes. For example, I want to show you one sentence. If you are confused here, he eats. Here, it is one lexeme, right? And eats is from out of it. So there is inflection. If we use any other compound word, right? I will come to the example later, and I will show you sentence inflection later. Inflection, and we know two lexemes are necessary, and noun phrase also. We'll come to the example. Right? Let's go to the next term, next slide. For example, go on. For example, bedroom, teapot. These are what? These are okay. Let me write sentence over here. Bedroom. You can use as a noun phrase also. Sit on the. You can go into the bedroom. Go into the bedroom, right? You have confusion here. The bedroom is compound word and noun phrase. This is noun phrase. And which one is head? Bedroom is head. Right? And in goes on also, you can use inflection. Like go went on. That is example, right? As I said earlier. And two words. Two lexeme means here. Right? This is also room is one lexeme and another lexeme. Have any confusion here? Anybody? Here in this slide, I said, compounds are made up of two lexemes, not words. Compounds are lexemes in the sense that they have compounds are lexemes. Why they are lexemes? Inflection, they will have inflection. If like in lexemes, like in a word, you can say in simple sense word. So I said lexemes and words are different concept. There will be inflection like S, D, etc. And next answer will have two or more lexemic bases, unlike other simple lexemes, right? Simple lexeme means, for example, go. Go is only one lexeme. But go on, lexemes. Go and on. So there must be at least two lexemes and act as a head of relevant phrase. I showed you into the bedroom. The bedroom. Bedroom is one compound word, compound noun, and the bedroom means here. What is there? Now head of noun, head of relevant phrases. That is a noun phrase. The bedroom is noun phrase. Right here, the bedroom. Bedroom is one compound noun, and it is phrase also NP. It is NP, noun phrase, right? NP, it is noun phrase. And which word is head? The bedroom is head. Out. Third example, third sentence, third class, you can say. So in this way, one lexeme is equivalent to one compound lexeme. It's also like not word, lexeme, right here. I'm talking. So, as I said earlier, generally in compound noun also, adjective also, verb also, what happens? At least one word will be hid, mean generally, not always. Okay, I'll come to not always also. I'm talking about headness here. Key point, keyword from which you can guess the meaning. It's called headness. So see here, head plays a key role in word formation process for compounding such as verb, phrase, noun, phrase. For example, new book. Which word do you think is the main? Which one? Newer book?
Book, sir.
Book, yes. This condition is called headness, right? To modify, to know, to show, for example, and go on. What do you think?
Go.
Go. In bedroom, which one is main? Which one is main? Bed or room?
Bed,
Bed.
I guess. Room. Oh.
But
So why room?
We're talking about room, right?
Oh, okay.
There can be bed also, there can be
Yeah,
television,
new book
there can
mouse.
be table also, right? Teapot.
Pot.
Sometimes, yeah, as you said, bed can be also, right? It's confusing. It's not clear cut. But commonly, I am saying common sense, right? This is not science, pure science. This is social science, and we have to guess the situation. Sometimes we cannot also. But headness is that concept which help us to find out meaning, right? Or that word, particular word, it means there will be lexemes. At least one lexeme will help you to find out, to guess the meaning of the word. That situation is called deadness. Do you have any confusion here? But as I said, it's not a straightforward concept. Deadness is not always clear. So,
Sir, can it
yes,
be used for all the compounds?
sorry?
Can it be used in all the compounds?
Deadness?
Yes, sir.
Yes, as I said, it's not clear. These concepts, deadness also, yet. Which one is head? Which one is main important? It's not always clear, but generally it is clear. Generally, I'm saying, right? Not always. So there is a rule. General rule, it's not a specific rule. Final element of a compound often determine the word class of the compound, that is head. In this sense, what I just said, word class. For example, windmill. In windmill, in sky blue, right? The kind of blue, right? And in mill, this means this final element somehow, not always, right? The general convention, as I said, general convention is this. It determines word class. And for example, another rule is that final element of compound takes inflection. Not always, right? I will show you some example later. For example, in this understand, what happens? There will be inflection, right? But there are exceptions also. But commonly, I'm saying, right? Commonly, for example, filter mouse, inflection. There will be final element, there will be inflection. For example, in stand, there is stood. In understand also, understood. There is inflection. Right? And for example, mouse, mice, and in filter mouse also, filter mice. Commonly, in this common sense, right? We can take this for granted. This is common. convention of headness. Let's see.
So,
There are example.
excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, please.
So the previous slide, can you just explain it once again? I'm a little lost about it, please. Basically, why do you have to explain the headedness with the final element in two different ways? Like when you explain with the inflection and then you explain the word class also.
Yes. There are two ways, as I said earlier. In this slide, I simply ask you how to find key element among two, right?
Yes.
Just looking at them, we can guess. Book in new, but in go on is not the key element. There's somehow confusion. There's a function word, not content word. On is not function content word. It's a function word. So we go to the go, not the on. In bedroom, we have confusion, either bed or room, right? In teapot, either tea or pot. Which one is keyword, head word? So our book, it says one rule is we have to go to the final element, right? Final element means, for example, windmill means is a type of mill. Is it so or not, right? Windmill is a type of mill, maybe electric mill, maybe there can be, right, and other type of mill, but it's a type of mill. So we can guess from this, keyword is mill, right? And sky blue, maybe another type of blue, different type of blue can be there, but blue is blue. We know that. It's talking about color, right? Headword is blue color. You can guess from this. This is one way of identifying headness. Am I right? And next one is, but as I said earlier, this is fundamental way. It's not hard and fast. Generally it is. And second one is also there. There are so many exceptions. You can go through the textbook. I haven't brought, because you'd be confused if I have brought all the thing. So I have only brought some basic concept. Next one is, next way of finding headness is inflection. For example, in under plus stand. What happens in the stand? We know that final element is what? Final element is the head. Bob. Under is not verb. Stand is verb, right? So understand is new word here. So inflection in stand, what happens? Stood, we change into stood. Stand, stood. And in this case also, in understand also, what happens? Understood. We change understand into understood, into past form. For example, noun, this is verb, understand is verb. In case of noun, little mouse, what do we do? Mouse is final element, and we change into, for example, plural of mouse is mice. So in filter mouse also, we make filter mice. That is another convention, right? So these are two testing kits of headness. Headness means key element, main word of compound word. Are you clear?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
So those functional elements also make compound word then?
Yeah, function word also make compound. There are conventions.
Okay. So you mentioned like lexemes, but function words, functional morphemes, they're not lexemes, right?
Yeah, they are also considered lexeme, right? Basic lexeme means here, as you know, that this is a basic fundamental form, right? Fundamental form is lexeme.
Okay. From our like a previous class, sir, lexical morphemes, they contain meaning, right? And functional morpheme, they are like conjunctions, prepositions.
And
so I was just wondering, like how would like go on would be like a compound word, when on would be more like a functional morpheme as opposed to like lexical morpheme.
Morpheme, lexical morpheme. What does that mean?
Yes, sir. That has like a meaning, contains meaning.
Yeah, and functional means grammatical.
Yes, sir.
That is different concept. We are not talking about functional word and lexical word right now, right? I think you are somehow
Okay.
in between that, right? For example, preposition, right? These are and conjunction, right? They are functional word as you talk about on, right?
Yes.
That is different thing. But for example, I'm coming to the point. For example, must. What is must? Must. For example, there is a word a must. We can change word class also. Must is that modal verb, right? And noun we can change that into noun also, right? What everything can happens in English, right? A must. This is a must, right? You can see such use also, right? So in this sense, simply two lexemes can form a compound word, right? For example, look at here, other example. Ours is investigator, park commission, shells. You take is, for example, taking. It will have different meaning, right? Take is one thing and in is another thing, right? You can bring, I mean, I think your intention is, can we use functional word to make lexical word lexical word or I mean compound lexical word not? Is that your question?
Yes, sir. For example, like are all phrasal verbs like complex words then?
In compounds word, this if that is used as one entity, that is compound word. You got the definition earlier also, right? Two words, if there are two words are used as a unit of meaning, then that is compound word. You need to know whether that phrasal form, right? Whatever you are saying phrase, if that is used, all phrasals are not word, right? But that should have one meaning. Using two words, there should be one single meaning, then that is compound word. But that is different concept.
Okay, okay.
Right? From the definition you can guess. I think we are running out of time. Where is 7:31, right? And maybe you are feeling bored also. Is it okay if I continue next week?
Sure, sir.
So do we have to do the homework also, like if we don't finish
Reflection,
this?
you can do other thing. If you are free, you can continue reflection. Otherwise, make a reflection. I mean, slide wise, right? Whatever the slide I have uploaded there, right? According to slide, you can make reflection. You can continue next week also. If you are free, you can continue. Otherwise, do assignment.
I mean the assignment 2.
Yeah, assignment 2. You can
do we
continue.
do like after next week?
Yeah, after next week. Also,
okay.
I've added, I think 1 week's time, right? I can extend that later. Don't worry about this.
Okay, okay.
Reflection, you can.
All right, thank you.
Reflection slide wise, whatever the slide I have uploaded there, you follow the slide and write reflection. Is it okay? And if you have any question about it, you can discuss for 5 minutes.
I have submitted reflection some days before.
Yeah, I think I have.
Think you haven't checked it, sir.
No, is it Prakash ji? Who is speaking? Prakash sir, are you speaking? I think I got 2 of the reflection. Yesterday also, I went through some of the assignment you have submitted. I think 5 or 6 of you haven't submitted till now. And I earlier also with some of you. Whenever you will have time, right? If you have confusion, you can let me know and we can sit and we can discuss on the issue wherever you have confusion. And if you are busy, right? There is no hard and fast rule, right? We can be flexible in your free time. Just let me know that, right? You are doing the thing. And
sure, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Whenever you have time. Is it okay, sir?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Okay.
Good
night, all of you.
Sir.
Yes, madam.
Can I ask you, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, now, so next week I'm going to present